believe that we got to be honest about our relationships with women, and how we, like Lady Di was also saying, we let women define what a man is, and a lot of women have selective. They want leadership selectively. They want you to lead me in some places. In other places, I can't. You can't lead me. You know what I'm saying? Like if you may have a suggestion of a book to read, or they don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? But you can lead me as far as paying the bills. You can lead me as far as making sure I get on trips. And it's like, but they don't want leadership is saying, hey. And I've said this before. Don't wear that. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that picture on the post. It's like they put parameters on where a man can lead. And historically in our community, we've been telling men for a long time that the black woman is the black bone of the community. So a lot of brothers have discarded their whole manhood as just, it's even grandpas that have known to just give mama the check. So it's like men have told themselves that they're just beasts of burden. And then they look at the woman as the intellectual guy. So you got a generation of men who, you want them to be men, but at the same time, we've been telling men that your manhood is still determined and filtered based on what the woman says it is. And I think for men to be leaders today, they have to be they have to be willing to lose men or women at the expense of being a man. And a lot of men are afraid to lose our women's approval at the expense of saying I'm a man or not. And I think when men can get over a black woman saying you're mean and all of that shit, then we can get a lot further, because they feeling the same thing that make you laugh, make you cry, the same thing that attract a lot of black women, the same thing that's going to tell you to sit your little ass down. It's the same energy. It's just you don't like it when they come at you.
Yeah, look, well, I guess Marcus, one of y'all men can answer this question, but it was something that Ella said, in regards to, um, women determining what, men are, or what have you. I guess, in letting them lead. I guess my question is, when we first started off, we asked what a weak man is, right? Men of strength, and every all of the guys did not come to like an agreement of what that looks like, what that is. So my question is that if we're talking about leadership, I think that there's confusion there because that looks different to different men, right? So if y'all can't come together with what that is, then how do you think women would be able to respect or recognize what that is if you guys don't even like agree to know what that is or look like?
That's a fair
Okay,
question.
I could answer that. So I'll put it like this: as far as the leadership is concerned, right? There's more than one way to do the right thing, right? So even though we may have had some sorts of differences as far as what we thought that what a weak man was or whatever that case may be, I'm confident that they would probably raise their children in a similar style, right? They probably would instill similar values. And I would say, I believe every man on this panel is probably going to raise solid children that are capable of being leaders, right? So it would almost be like, all right, so Christianity, Muslim, those are two completely fundamentally different beliefs. But if they are both righteous, I think that they can both end up with a similar result that's acceptable to the masses, if that makes sense to you. I did want to kind of talk on the topic a bit about the feminism. So with the feminism, right, and that being an issue as to why men stop leading and then that being part of it, I think that yes, and but not probably the way that people would say it would be. I think it would be because men should have never allowed the feminism movement in the first place, not to put their foot on the necks of the women, but because we should have saw that there was an issue and solve the problems like the problem solvers that we are capable of being, right? Because what happened is there's an overcorrection. And when you look at red pill spaces, that's another potential overcorrection, right? And I think that the main thing we are missing is the balance, and that's where I think the problem is. I know True wanted to say something.
So I want to answer Miss Taken's question. And then I'll expand as Trev did on the original the clip. I don't think what you observed from my depiction was men disagreeing. I think it was collective thought. And what tends to happen, kind of to what Trev's saying, I think we allowed women to enter into our spaces because men amongst men, we assess each other differently. Like men don't even have to run alongside men too long to recognize he's a solid dude. But that's not applicable in a relationship. And that's what sometimes I think women don't understand. We assess a man completely different than you guys assess a man. We respect, oh, that dude's solid. It's the same thing going on with the Aisha Curry and Stephen Curry situation. So many men are up in arms about it because in our logical mind, it's kind of like, well, this dude is doing everything that from a man's perspective, he's supposed to do. He's doing actually more, right? And then you'll have women that's saying, well, but we don't know if he's truly arriving in the relationship the way she wants. And so that to me is what sometimes creates the divide, that I don't think ever miss what men are supposed to be. But we also may have a different approach, I think, to Trev's point, how we may facilitate a family. One may raise them Christian, one may raise them Muslim, but we're still setting our family in a direction that we deem is worthy of best results. The problem comes in is that the relational viewpoint from a woman's perspective looks different. So masculinity is never something I think that they really know how to digest correctly, in my opinion, because masculinity is structure, masculinity is accountability, masculinity makes most women feel uncomfortable from an emotional perspective. I think just like men have to be raised to be men, women have to be raised to recognize what it is to be covered, protected, so on and so forth. So I think that's what is occurring a lot of times. It's not that we as amongst men are lacking leadership in what it is to be men and what's weak and what's not. I just think that some of us have been socially conditioned to give too much credence to what the women value. And now we're trying to somehow, some way take society forward with that now being present, because the challenge that I know no women understand is that you guys don't have to deal with what we have to deal with from a relational standpoint. One, you don't initiate relationships. So we always started, we asked to be with you, but then now we're relinquishing authority. And it's a very confusing type of exchange. I think iLLA said it earlier. We're kind of rejecting what once was our position because even Marcus said, we don't know which way to go. We come in strong, you're being controlling. You come in too soft, you're weak, And so I think it's very precarious right now. So I think men need to continue to do what we're doing now. Speak to individually what we do that works, and then assess from a group perspective where we're trying to end up, and do what works, produce results. I believe the women will respect results because that seems to be something that's consistent across the board.